Friday Night Lights means it's time for the final score. Your home for hard hits, big plays, and the Basin's #1 football show. The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
It is here, the final score of the year, as we've been saying. Good, that's the bad news. We do have some good news. Ben Peck, Aaron Reynolds, we're finally in the playoffs.
I cannot believe it. We've gone through 11 weeks of the regular season to sort things out. This weekend, 416 teams across the state with an opportunity to extend their stay in the playoffs.
Yeah, that many teams will be moving on, although that many teams will be eliminated as well. One of the teams trying to advance, the Permian Panthers, a rematch with El Paso Franklin after a senior night to remember. And as you probably know, especially if you're a Mojo fan, Permian defeating Midland Lee last week, winning a share of the district title. Our athlete of the week, Easton Hernandez, contributed in a number of ways. He became the first player since 1976 for Permian to have a passing, rushing, and a receiving touchdown in the same game. My goodness. Week 2, Permian did lose to Franklin by 21 points, but Hernandez, he was not on the field for that game.
We got a rare opportunity. You know, you don't get to go back and correct your mistakes a lot of time in football. And so being able to watch the film for the first time we played and see where we're at now, I think we're a better football team than we were in week 2. So getting that opportunity to go back and correct our mistakes and hopefully come out with a win is huge for us.
So here we go, the rematch. And again, Permian looking for a little revenge in this game of the week at home for the matchup with Franklin. And there they go. They bet a Franklin on them, it looks like, by the looks of that sign right there. First drive for Mojo. Out of the shotgun, Easton Hernandez getting ready to pitch it left to Taryn Limuel. And he is going to make his way into the end zone for a touchdown. Mojo on top, 7-0 early on, but Franklin would answer. You know, Danny Walther, we've heard his name over the years, great quarterback for the Cougars. He finds Michael Hawk. What the Hawk? It's all tied up at 7 apiece. Permian, though, with the ball threatening once again. This time, Easton Hernandez, who just barely crosses the plane. Doesn't matter, though. Counts just as much. 14-7, Mojo back on top. And then Permian with the ball once again. Alex Rose on the option pitch from Hernandez. And he just keeps on going through the end zone. Rose with a nice run later on as well. Permian up 28-7 at the half. And take a look at this final score. 48-13. Panthers get the win. They avenge that loss to El Paso Franklin. And they will face Arlington Martin next round of the playoffs. Jake Ike said he was there to talk with Coach Ellison after the game.
The Final Score Sports Desk, brought to you by Stanley Ford.
Ben, Aaron, welcome to Rattler Stadium tonight. You guys, playoff atmosphere here for sure. After a 48-13 win, I got Coach Ellison here talking to us today, guys. Coach, you started off 0-3 this year. A lot of people wrote you off. What do you have to say to the naysayers now that you've won a playoff game?
Well, it's nothing to really say anything to anybody that didn't think we were going to make it here. You know, that was, if anything, it was a boost for our football team. You know, that's kind of been one of our ongoing things that we talk about throughout this season, and just how we stay together as a football team and continue to get better.
Coach, you guys bottled them up tonight. They only had 13 points. You guys played them the first time around. That wasn't the case. What was the difference tonight? Well, first of all, our defensive staff, headed by Vance Washington, they
do a great job week in and week out. I think the biggest thing with our defense is that we've gotten better. We had a lot of young guys early on, and we've gotten better as the years has gone on.
Coach, I know you guys had a few players missing the last time you guys played this team, and one of them specifically, Easton, reigning Big 2 Athlete of the Week, actually, might be again this week. Talk about how special he is.
Well, he's a great, number one, he's a great person, a great leader for our football team. And obviously, as everybody's seen in the last 2 weeks, he's a pretty good football player. And so he's gotten better week in and week out. You know, he missed really a lot of the first half of the season. So the second half, you know, just like everybody else, the more football they play, the better they get.
Coach, you guys got Arlington Martin, next week. I know 2 years ago you lost them at their place. Now they come to the crib. What's going to be the difference?
Well, number one, they're a great football team, and anytime that you can have play at home, you hope that that's an advantage for you with your crowd. So looking for another great game.
Coach Ellison, congratulations. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you having us out here tonight, you guys. 48-13 win for Permian. They're going to carry this momentum going into next week. Ben, Aaron?
Thank you, Jake. Big win for Mojo. And their rival, who they just beat last week, actually played yesterday, taking on El Paso Montwood. A rematch in that game as well.
Rebels won the first meeting 72-7.
So see if they can get as big of a win yesterday after an unsuccessful drive by the Rams. Rebs starting off hot. Ryan Quiros muscling his way over the goal line, 7-0 lead. Rams trying to respond. Galvez launches one to Carlos Flores Jr., who takes it all the way to the 35 before being taken down by that Rebel defense. Later on in the same drive, Galvez throwing a dart to Jazz Jackson in the end zone. All tied up here in the first quarter. Rebels finally found their groove toward the end of the first, however. Mikey Serrano to Evan McMarion, and he dodges a few guys before having a wide open sprint into the end zone. Midland Lee goes up 14-7 following that touchdown. Then taking it into the second quarter now, Lee going for it on fourth down. Serrano launches one up the middle to Christian Romero, who manages to get a toe in bounds. Rebels take a 20-7 lead after a mixed extra point. Ended up holding off the Rams 65-32 your final. So Rebels will advance to the area round and face Arlington Lamar.
Yes, that should be a good game. All right, we are just getting started here on the final score, but coming up next we move to Class 4A. Pecos clinched its postseason spot with a win last Friday, trying to extend their stay tonight against Levelland.
And over in Sixman, a handful of state title contenders facing off in the bi-district round. One of them, Rankin, looking for revenge against Starling City. Stay with us. The best show in the Basin is coming right back.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
Welcome back to The Final Score. It is the first Friday night of the playoffs. Last week, we had chaos trying to find out who would make it.
My head's still kind of in recovery after all that. That 4A Division II, of course, there was Pecos, Fort Stockton, and Monahans. The Lobos and Panthers each, unfortunately, missing out. But you got to give credit to Pecos.
Oh, yeah. The Eagles avoiding all of that drama, winning their game against Snyder last Friday night. And then last night, taking on, or tonight, taking on Levelland.
And by the way this game turned out, Pecos needed to win because Monahans lost. So they needed that to move on. Taking on the Lobos. Opening drive of the game, 3rd and long for the Eagles. Armando Granado sees the hole, and he's going to hit it and get the first down and a little bit more as well. Later on that drive, down by the goal line, Granado, I just give it to that guy. And they do, and he scores. That's what happens. 7-0 Pecos. Ensuing drive, Lobos trying to answer. Dylan Portillo going long. Jason Ramirez has a chance, got behind the defense, but not able to hold on to it. Missed opportunity for Levelland. And second quarter, Pecos, the ground and pound, that was working out. Granado gets himself another touchdown, and Pecos, they get the win, 45-0. They will take on Glen Rose coming up.
And Greenwood went undefeated in the regular season, had the week off last week, facing Perryton last night up in Canyon. Here, Perryton's Tatum Lilly with the carry, but he's taken down by that Greenwood defense. Following that, Pablo Perez on the carry for first down, and that was our final play of that quarter. So not a lot of action here early. Second quarter, forces a field goal, but Perryton running the fake here, and Connor Lane hits Isaac Gabriel there for the touchdown, but Greenwood would not settle for that.
Yeah.
Trey Cross here on the carry, making his way down that right sideline.
They are undefeated. They aren't going to go down easily.
And then that would lead to Weston Wilbur hitting Brody Ray for the Rangers touchdown. And as you can see here, Greenwood had no problem finishing this one off. They had a 49-7 win and will face the winner of the Aubrey or Godley.
Yes, that should be an interesting matchup. Greenwood, though, number, I believe, 4 in the latest polls. Well, moving to 4A Division I, this was a game played Thursday at Sol Ross. Andrews a win over San Elisario. They will get ready to take on Pampa next.
And some more scores here for you. Clint Mountain View getting the win over the Steers. So Big Spring season comes to an end with a 48-36 final.
And keeping on with that district, Fabens falling to Seminole. The Indians will move on to the area rounds. They get the win and improve, I believe, to 8-3 on the year.
Some more Thursday night games for you here, folks. Kermit taking on Shallow Water in the bi-district round.
Up at Lubbock Cooper Thursday night.
Coach Wood and the Mustangs had to grow up fast after having that senior-laden team back in 2018. First quarter, Mustangs convert 4th down with a run from Caleb Batson. Nice job there by the Mustangs. 2 plays later, Keegan Campbell taking it in from about 8 yards out. 2-point conversion would make it 8-0. Mustangs early on. Shallow takes the lead. Next possession for the Yellow Jackets, trying to come back. But Shallow with a big-time sack from Grant Johnson. So Kermit would settle for a 32-yard field goal to make it 8-3.
Oh, nice kick. There it goes.
I could have tried that maybe.
Maybe.
I've been working on my kicking skills, everyone.
Working on it.
Into the second quarter now. Shallow Waters Josh Easley takes the handoff from Zeb Price and is going to finish off the drive. 14-3 Mustangs early on. They roll to a nice win over the Yellow Jackets, 46-23 your final. So Kermit's season comes to an end in the bi-district round.
Thursday game in Andrews, Crane, and Idalou. Let's check it out. We know which side Josh Abbott was on for this one, rooting for his hometown Idalou Wildcats, but the Cranes weren't having any of it. Late first quarter, up 13-0. Jackson Willis, quarterback keeper, 19-zip Crane after they went for 2, didn't get it, but the Wildcats, they're always a tough team. They came in 6-4 to this game, and Landon Fulcher to Bryson Gowen. And you know what? He is going to the end zone, going places. That's what I said earlier, so I couldn't use it twice, Aaron. But touchdown there for the Wildcats. But no matter. Jackson Willis to Nate Suttle. That's how you go up and high point the ball. 25-7, ensuing 2-point conversion. Willis goes to Donnie Bishop. That makes it 27-7. And Crane, they would go on, get the win, 48-35. By the way, the Golden Cranes are going to be taking on Cisco next in the area round.
And the team that beat those Golden Cranes last week, Alpine, the district champions of that district, taking on Lubbock Roosevelt tonight. And we're going to start with the Fightin' Bucks ball. They take the ball first. Aaron Fellows with the run up the left, and he's going to run in for a touchdown. 6-0 Alpine early on after a missed extra point. Later on in the second, Alpine ready to score again. This time they go right. You can just go both ways, Fellows, and he's in for the score once again. Roosevelt would try to respond later on. Pitch to the running back, and he's going to throw it, making out the cameraman here.
It happens.
Yep, happens to the best of us, to Miles Miller for the Roosevelt touchdown. Taking a look at this final score. Alpine Fightin' Bucks going to get it done against Lubbock Roosevelt, 33-21, so they will advance to the area round.
Yeah, we'll have to see what that matchup is looking like for them. Okay, Kahoma, they were playing Thursday in Fort Stockton against Anthony. They win, and their reward is they get to face #1 Canadian next week. That'll be a tough test for the Bulldogs.
And another tough test for Reagan County last night. They took a loss to Abernathy, 75-0.
Yes, and Abernathy, #5 in the state. Reagan County finishes out 0-11. Okay, Wink, they were taking on Bovina last night in Denver City, and the Wildcats getting the win. That winning streak continues, 60-7. They'll take on Rawls next.
Got some more scores for you. Going to keep it rolling. Badgers getting a solid win over Farwell. There we go. This game was played up in Lamesa, 30-15 your final, so the Badgers are going to advance to the area round.
So long, Farwell. Okay, let's take a look at Sudan and Iran. Iran, this is kind of a nice result for Iran.
Yeah.
Obviously, their season comes to an end, but keep in mind, they've been having so much trouble this year. 0-10 against the 10-0 Sudan team. Putting up 20 on the board, coming up short 59-20, but nice effort from the Braves all year long.
Absolutely, and that's going to wrap up the 11-man portion of tonight's show. If you would like to see touchdowns, well, you're going to love this next part of our program.
I would say so, because you know what we're doing next, Aaron?
Yes.
We're doing six-man football, and in a lot of ways, our heavy hitters, and really just look at the first game, a rematch from last year's regional final.
Such a tough first-round game.
Yes, it certainly is. Balmorhea taking on Garden City. Of course, the Bears knocked out the Bearcats in the quarterfinals last year.
And it was the battle of the Coach Joneses. We love
Yes.
it. The Jones Show, as Ben likes to say, in a battle between the Bears and Bearcats. Third quarter, Lane Carrasco taking the handoff and dodges a couple guys. Down the middle he goes. Touchdown, Bears. They have a solid lead there in the third quarter, 32-16. Garden City ready to respond, though. Hunter McMillan taking off down the sideline. He's going to make a nice little gain for the Bearcats and put them in scoring position.
Got the real-time play-by-play going on at the stadium.
Following that next play, pass to John Michael Allegria, somehow manages to stay up. Much more graceful than I am, folks. Garden City with the score, 32-22 now. Just down 10 on the other end, though. Bears not going to keep it that way. 4th and 3. Excuse me, and Garden City is going to hold them to that.
Well,
Solid
Bears and
defense there
Bearcats.
from the Bearcats. Well, but eventually when you take a look at this final, you kind of see that they didn't keep it that way.
Yes.
Balmorhea is going to advance in this tough first-round matchup, 52-28 win over Garden City. That's their second win over the Bearcats this season.
So who did they get to play? Well, let's take a look. Morton County, they have 12 straight district championships. They beat Morton County 62-6 at the half, and they will take on Balmorhea in their next game. State champion from 2 years ago against a state runner-up. Oh, my goodness.
I'm telling you, we just cannot get over these six-man matchups. Also, another tough one.
Speaking of, I was going to say.
Number 2, Rankin taking on Starling City. The Red Devils' only loss this year
Was to
Starling City.
only by 8 points as well.
Let's take it out to Garden City to see how this one wound up. We're going to start off the action in the first quarter. Rankin with the ball here early on. Titan Quigg going to scramble a little bit here. Finally going to find Benjamin Rios in the end zone. So the Red Devils get on the board first, 6-0. Starling City going to respond right away, though. There's Francisco Gonzalez with the touchdown. Eagles going to take the lead after that kick, 8-6. Still in the first quarter, Rankin with the ball once again. Pass to Rios, manages to stay up somehow. Touchdown, Rankin. This was such a back-and-forth game. We're going to keep you updated on the final score in this one, but it looks like the Red Devils are going to keep on moving.
86-60 is what we're hearing. We're not sure if that's a final or not, but okay, that is a final. So Rankin moving on. And moving now to Division II, Grand Falls Royalty, a win 77-32. They were playing in the early game at Garden City there, defeating the Bulldogs, the Cowboys, and they are moving on.
And speaking of tough matchups, Sanderson just 4-4 this year, taking on number 8 Blackwell. Blackwell undefeated going into this game. We're going to take it out to Irion County, where this game was being played. We're going to enter the action late in the second quarter. Hornets leading 48-8. Trying to end this one at halftime, as a matter of fact. Michael Lowry rolls out of the pocket and finds Joel Gia. He's going to score, of course, giving Blackwell a 56-8 lead. But they weren't done. Hornets with the ball once again. Jared McMurdy getting the handoff. Follows his block perfectly. No one's going to catch him. 64-8 after an Eagles touchdown, 64-16. So trying the onside to keep it going past halftime, but the Hornets come up with it. They take the knee to run out the clock. So Blackwell keeps their undefeated streak going. They take down Sanderson 64-16. Solid season to the Eagles.
Yeah, always tough to keep it going there. We do want to show you Midland Christian. They're going to be taking on Houston St. Pius. That game is going to be tomorrow at home, 4 o'clock for Midland Christian, so we're not forgetting about our town
We'll have those highlights tomorrow on yourmason.com, so stay tuned.
Yes.
And the Final Score playoff edition will be back soon. As they say, big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games. The best play from this week is coming up.
Let's do it. We also are going to up the decibels a little bit on the program, at least with the music. Our Band of the Week performance, it's coming up next.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
Well, we are just past the halfway point of the show, and Aaron, we've seen some great football, but, you know, we've also heard some pretty sick beats as well in the stands, some bops, if you will.
Sick beats. Friday nights in West Texas wouldn't be the same without them. With that, we bring you our Band of the Week, the Pride of Pecos.
There we go. I believe that is Land of a Thousand Dances. If I'm not, as a high school band connoisseur, I'd like to think that I remember that. Yeah, but good job for the Pride of Pecos. And now we're going to turn on the field, though, once again. And actually stay at Granda Communication Stadium. Sorry.
We are, yes. Maybe from yesterday, but a little bit of a hint there. It is time for our Final Score Play of the Week.
You know me, Aaron. I can't ever bury the lead. Well, Midland Lee, again, they were taking on El Paso, Montwood, and oh my goodness, Aaron. I think Erin Reynolds, she was at this game. You saw her yesterday covering this game for us.
Film.
Let's see, but did Aaron capture the proof? Did Christian Romero get his foot in on 4th and 9 from the 33? Oh, Erin Reynolds, look at that shot. That is, picture perfect. Christian Romero hanging on 4th down.
You know, and I could really tell Midland Lee had gotten their confidence back during this play.
Yes.
4th and 9, folks.
From
Not
the
just
33.
like 4th and 2, 4th and 3. This was 4th and 9.
And they're like, squeeze in.
We're going to throw it up there.
The 1-footer.
And it paid off.
Christian Romero, Mikey Serrano, Midland Lee, our Play of the Week. Well, we've got one final commercial break coming up, but when we come back, we've got some final thoughts, including Permian moving on to the area rounds.
You're watching The Final Score, brought to you by these sponsors.
All right, we've reached round 1 of the playoffs, is for the most part in the books, and a lot of exciting results as always, Aaron.
Yeah, so it's time for us to share what we actually think about these games this season, what's happened, especially tonight. And, you know, Ben, we had a lot of tough 6-man matchups going into round 1.
Yes, we did.
Kind of crazy. I think Ben and I were both kind of amazed.
Yeah. I mean, that region we've talked about, it's just so filthy for especially Division I when you look at Garden City, Rankin, Balmorhea, Borden County. It's Starling City. It's kind of amazing to think that somebody's got to go out.
Yeah. So I guess now talk about some of our final thoughts.
Yes, well, and you know, some other games, just kind of looking at the list of what we've got here. Crane, I was at that game. Really impressive to see kind of how they responded. They were a little sloppy in that game, but ultimately able to get the job done. I think Alpine, you got to give them credit, taking on Lubbock Roosevelt. And, the Bucks, man, we've been talking about Crane so much, but they did it. They got it done. We do also, of course, have Permian. They got the win over El Paso Franklin.
And a big win, especially after they lost to Franklin back in week 2.
And for such a special occasion, why don't we get a very special final thoughts from Jake Eichstedt in studio?
Yes, you guys, it's very nice to be here. Guys, it was a really good game tonight. Permian dominated from the get-go tonight. Really big difference from what we saw from them in week 2 against them when they dropped 50. Franklin did against them, only 13 tonight. Defense really stepped up. Coach Ellison said a lot of different guys played tonight versus that Week 2 game. A lot of young guys stepping up as well. Guys, I can't emphasize how big of a role number 25, you see him right there, Ellison Hernandez. He is just a game man, or big-time gamer for Permian. You guys, he makes no mistakes, does everything well. Probably 100 yards on the ground tonight, multiple touchdowns again. Guys, this is going to be my final thoughts for final score. It's going to be really sad for me. I don't know what we're going to do, or at least what I will do after this. I want to say congratulations to you guys on, again, dominating the sports market here in the Permian Basin. You guys, final score, last one. Congratulations to you two for putting on such a fantastic show.
Well, you know, we do our best. We really do. But thank you so much, Jake. And they're, again, going to be taking on Arlington Martin in the next game. I keep getting confused because we've got Arlington Martin for Permian, Arlington Lamar for Midland Lee.
Yes.
And so those should be some good games. They have been in the past few years. As for myself, you know, I was kind of bearing the lead here, but with my final thoughts, just wanted to thank everyone, not only for watching the show, but everyone involved with the whole crew. We do have an entire set of people who stay a lot longer than they should to help us out, to help put this on. A lot of great people in the, you know, production, behind the scenes, our camera crew, in the control room, and of course our photographers going out to shoot some games. You know some of them you don't know, but we want to just thank not only all those folks, but our management and you, the viewer, for watching, because again, if you weren't here, we wouldn't be doing any of this.
They always say it takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to put on this show. I will tell you.
It takes an entire village, or in this case, newsroom. Whatever the case may be. But once again, thank you so much for watching, and we should remind you, as if you didn't already know, this is the final score. We will not be on the air next week in this time slot, but of course, we are going to continue to keep an eye on the postseason throughout, to go all the way up to the state championship if need be, on online.
Fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed. Hopefully we bring a couple teams with us to Jerry World and Arlington, but we'll keep you posted. Just check all our social media pages, and we'll be posting previews, recaps, highlights, everything you could ever ask for.
Yeah, and of course, we'll keep you updated on who's still playing, where they're playing, when they're playing on our website, yourbasin.com, so be sure to check that pretty thoroughly every week.
All right, and thank you so much. And with that, we bid adieu for the 2019 season of the Final Score. We hope your team goes as far as they can in the postseason if they are still in it. For Aaron Reynolds, Ben Peck, Jake Eichstead, and the whole crew, I should say, thank you so much, and have a great rest of your weekend.